Quick question. A police officer walks up and says, "Can I search your bag?" What do you do? Most people say yes, not because they have something to hide, but because they genuinely believe they have no choice. That one moment has sent innocent people to court, cost them jobs, and changed their lives forever. Here's the truth. The Annenberg Public Policy Center found that only 1 in 20 Americans can name all 5 rights the First Amendment actually guarantees. 1 in 20. Today I'm showing you 5 rights most people think they understand, but get dangerously wrong. Stay through right number 4. It's the one that trips up even people who study this professionally. The most misunderstood right in America: free speech. Someone gets banned from Twitter, fired for a Facebook post, removed from YouTube, and immediately says, "This is a violation of my free speech." Here's what the data shows. The same 2023 Annenberg survey asked a completely separate question about Facebook specifically, and found that 53% of Americans incorrectly believe the First Amendment means Facebook must allow all speech on its platform. 2 different questions, 2 separate findings, same survey, and both say the same thing. Most Americans misunderstand the amendment they invoke most often. Here is the truth, right there in the text. The First Amendment reads, "Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech." The word Congress is everything. It restrains the government, not Facebook, not YouTube, not your employer. They are private entities. They operate under their own terms of service. They can ban you, and the First Amendment gives you no recourse against that. One caveat: some states limit how employers can punish employees for personal social media activity, and public universities, government institutions, play by different rules. But your post removed from a private platform? Not a First Amendment issue. You're pulled over for a broken taillight. Officer's polite. Then, "Mind if I take a look in your car real quick?" Most people say yes, not because they're hiding anything, but because saying no feels suspicious, rude, or illegal. It is none of those things. The Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. Without a warrant or a recognized legal exception, an officer needs your consent to search your vehicle. You are completely within your rights to withhold it. Here's the part most people don't know. In 1973, in Schneckloth versus Bustamonte, the Supreme Court ruled that police are not required to tell you that you can refuse. They can ask. You can say yes, and that consent is fully legal, even if you had no idea you could say no. The Stanford Open Policing Project analyzed over 100 million traffic stops, published in Nature Human Behavior, and found that in many jurisdictions, the majority of consent searches produced no contraband at all. So what do you say? "Officer, I do not consent to a search." Calm, clear, fully within your rights. 2009, David Riley is pulled over in San Diego for expired registration. Officers find weapons and arrest him. Then, without a warrant, without his permission, they search his smartphone. What they found on it helped convict him of attempted murder. 15 years to life. Riley appealed. In 2014, Riley versus California, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously, 9-0. Police cannot search the digital contents of your phone without a warrant. Chief Justice Roberts wrote that a smartphone holds the privacies of life. That ruling is settled, nationwide, full stop. Now, your password. This is genuinely unsettled, and I want to be precise. Several courts have accepted the argument that providing your password is a form of testimony, protected by the Fifth Amendment. The 11th Circuit recognized it. A Northern California federal court extended it to biometrics. But other courts, including New Jersey's Supreme Court, have ruled the opposite under what's called the foregone conclusion exception. The U.S. Supreme Court has not resolved the split yet. Practical baseline: I do not consent to a search of my device. Always within your rights. The password? Know that the law is still developing and varies by where you are. Right number 4 is the one that almost everyone gets wrong.
even after watching videos exactly like this one. Stay with me. This is the one, the right everyone thinks they understand, and almost everyone gets wrong. You've seen it in every crime drama. Person gets arrested, Miranda warning is read, they stay quiet. They're protected. That is not how the law works. In 2000, Van Chester Tompkins was arrested in Michigan in connection with a fatal shooting. Officers read him his Miranda rights. He didn't sign the acknowledgement form. For nearly 3 hours, he sat in that interrogation room and said almost nothing. He believed he was protected.
Near the end, a detective asked, "Do you pray to God to forgive you for shooting that boy?" Tompkins said one word, "Yes." That single word, after 3 hours of silence, was admitted as evidence and used to convict him of first-degree murder. He appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that 3 hours of silence should count as invoking his right. In 2010, in Berghaus versus Tompkins, the court ruled against him, 5-4. The ruling: a suspect must clearly and verbally state that they are invoking the right to remain silent. Staying quiet is not the same thing. So what do you say? This or something close? I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer. Once you say that, questioning must stop. One more thing. Police are not required to read your Miranda rights the moment they arrest you. They only apply when you're in custody and they intend to question you. Anything you say voluntarily before that point can still be used against you. So the moment you're stopped or detained, say it, clearly, calmly. Last one, and this one carries real weight right now. If someone is living in the U.S. without legal immigration status, do they have any constitutional rights at all? A 2022 Annenberg survey found that 4 in 10 Americans, 40%, incorrectly said no. 4 in 10. Wrong. And this has been settled law for over 130 years. In 1886, Yick Wo versus Hopkins, the Supreme Court ruled that constitutional protections apply to all persons within U.S. territory, not only citizens. The 14th Amendment uses the word persons intentionally. Under established constitutional law, people without legal status retain significant protections. The right to due process before being legally punished. The right to remain silent when questioned by law enforcement. The right to refuse a search without a warrant. The right to legal counsel if criminally charged, though not at government expense in civil immigration proceedings. The right to a hearing before deportation, though this is currently at the center of active litigation. The Supreme Court's June 2025 ruling in DHS versus DVD allowed certain deportations to proceed without full hearings while that legal challenge continues. The constitutional principle has been upheld since 1903, but how it is applied in practice is actively contested right now. Why does this matter to you? Because how we understand who the Constitution covers shapes how we talk about law, policy, and one another. And on that question, 4 in 10 Americans still have the wrong answer, after more than 130 years of settled law. Let's bring it home. Right 1. Free speech doesn't apply on social media. The First Amendment restrains the government, not private platforms. Right 2. You can refuse a police search. Officers don't have to tell you that. You can. Calmly, clearly, fully within your rights. Right 3. Police need a warrant for your phone. Settled, unanimous law. Your password varies by jurisdiction. Know where your state stands. Right 4. Silence is not enough. Say it out loud. I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer. Right 5. The Constitution protects persons, not only citizens. Courts have upheld that for over 130 years. None of this is radical. None of this is about picking a side. These are rights written into the document so ordinary people would know their protections. The problem was never that they don't exist. The problem is nobody explained how they actually work. Which one surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. This channel, The Rights Whisper, exists for exactly this. The rights most people have heard of, but no one actually explains. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if someone in your life needs to see this, send it to them right now.